Speaker. First, let me thank my colleague from Oregon, Representative Hoyle, for her kind words and her articulate description of the bill that we are considering today. I also want to, in particular, thank Ranking Member Larson for his leadership on the committee and his help in getting this bill across the finish line, we hope, in the days and weeks ahead. And I also want to say thank you to my friend and colleague and the chairman of this distinguished committee, and certainly am wishing him well in all of his future endeavors. I've enjoyed our verbal sparring on the Select Committee on the Climate Crisis and the House Natural Resources Committee. I've appreciated his friendship and also appreciate his leadership and his support for this piece of legislation. I'm here to talk about the Disaster Management Cost Modernization Act, and as you heard from Representative Hoyle, as we continue to face increasing numbers of natural disasters across our country, wildfires, floods, hurricanes, and more, it's critically important that we work to equip our communities with the resources that they need. My home state of Colorado has seen firsthand the devastating impacts of these disasters, Mr. Speaker, as we've unfortunately experienced record-breaking and deadly wildfires, drought, and flood conditions all over just the past few years. This bill would strengthen our efforts to prepare for and mitigate the impacts of future disasters across our country. It is a simple bill, Mr. Speaker. When state and local governments receive federal assistance through the Federal Emergency Management Agency, otherwise known as FEMA, they are allocated a percentage of the assistance for management costs or administrative costs to manage that disaster. However, as you heard Representative Hoyle describe, those management costs are awarded for a particular disaster. The reality is that results in unnecessary administrative burdens on state and local governments when managing multiple open disasters and limits flexibility for disaster recovery and preparedness. So, Mr. Speaker, let me just give you a very practical example of what this looks like. In Colorado's 2nd Congressional District, we have unfortunately, as I mentioned, have been home to multiple historically large and destructive wildfires. Oftentimes, these wildfires will happen simultaneously in different parts of our state and indeed different parts of my district. The ability for the state government and local governments to apply these cost-sharing dollars, these grants from FEMA for different disasters simultaneously has been inhibited by in my view, a nonsensical approach in current law. And that is what we seek to change, Mr. Speaker. It's a common sense way to cut red tape and ultimately benefit communities across the West and indeed across the country as they continue to grapple with natural disasters in the years ahead. I'm proud that this bill is supported by a broad spectrum of Coloradans, Republicans and Democrats, and of course that includes people in this, my colleagues in this chamber. So again, I thank the Speaker for his indulgence. I thank Representative Hoyle and the Chairman. I encourage everyone to support this important bill, and I yield back.